Live at F Square Printing at 519 South Spring Street in Los Angeles, California, and we're here to talk about ending gentrification in downtown, especially here in this block of Spring Street. I'm live streaming, so I'm just telling the people watching what's up. Except they probably were watching a commercial while I was talking, so. So I'll have to tell them again. I always forget, I say it all and then I'm like, oh shit, commercial. Alright, well it'll take 5 minutes to get some viewers good.
I've been introduced to Jamie Baldwin a few times, but I saw it and I was like, you know what? I have an unhealthy habit of buying books.
That's not unhealthy.
So it's one of the first books of his, and he reflects on the psychiatric aspects of being African American in society of the 1900s.
Yeah, for the nonprofit status. Here, I got some more tape.
Apparently this book is about the three parts. The first is a Negro with the African American as an artist. The second contains 3 essays on Black life in America. The last part contains 4 essays written to America.
I like this comfy chair.
What are you reading at the moment as a book?
The acoustics in here are not as good because I can hear her from here. Yeah.
The like 600-page autobiography. I had that book. And I just gave it away to a friend, and
It's noisier down here.
because it's good to share.
Hey Nala, for those of you watching the live stream, we're here at F Square Printing at 519 South Spring Street in Los Angeles, California. We're going to be talking about the gentrification here in Los Angeles, especially what's happening on this block of Spring Street between 5th and 6th. Are you taking a picture?
I love this phone.
What kind of phone is it?
It's a Windows 8 phone, Nokia Lumia.
So what's up with gentrification on this block, Nas?
So as far as it's concerned, there's certain amounts of developers who are buying up properties around here, and as a result, they're able to monopolize a lot of the blocks around, and at the same time manipulate a lot of the market price for commercial businesses. So as a result, what has happened with F Square Printing is that there has been a new change in the owner, and he decided to change the market price, the commercial market price, or the rent, in other words, to $10,000 a month. And as a result, it's seen from our side and at the same time from the perspective of the community that he has launched a direct attack on the community.
So it was 5,000 and now it's 10,000?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it became 10,000, and he's using his side of the argument. He's saying that I'm establishing a fair market value, that it was below market value and stuff like that. But I mean, how can you call it a fair market value when you own 7 different properties around on the same block? I mean, you have techniques, you must have techniques to raise the commercial values. So the other side at the same time, what is said is that a lot of this building itself is dilapidated. Needs a lot of reconstruction and stuff like that. So it says that it's a crucial element to increase the price of this property, and so that he can expand it on his reconstruction process. But I mean, so we're trying to find or formalize a manner where both the parties, from Isaac Shomoff's party and at the same time from our party, from the party of the community, can reach a compromise in trying to solve this problem. So we're having this meeting at the moment.
Awesomeness. So the meeting's going to start in a few minutes and people are just kind of hanging out right now. And
It's the area that they decided to put the number of people although the group is constantly
So what did you think of the media meeting?
I think it was fantastic.
I thought it was like really amazing. I mean, even though a lot of like I didn't talk, and there were a lot of points like that were important that I didn't talk about, but I mean, we really didn't have time.
I still think it went good.
Yeah, I think it was awesome and amazing, and I think
So I guess in an effort to get started on time, we should probably put up an agenda. I haven't thought of one beforehand, except that maybe we'll do some background and then I'll give you an update on what I've heard from the city so far, and then we can brainstorm on things moving forward. I'll put those items up. Anything else that anybody wants on the agenda? No? Okay.
Frequently asked questions?
Yeah. So, hey guys. Probably have to grab a couple of chairs from upstairs.
We got it.
Oh, wait, just let me get back. Okay, you can drag it over to your chairs. We're open.
maybe we can move the table in so there's more space behind. What do you think, Naz? Should we move that table?
Yes. Also recover.
You know what? It would be good if you. No, I mean, well, the only way I mean, let me. Okay, it would be easier for me to not film you if you sit next to me. Okay, if you sit next, it's gonna be really hard to not film you if you don't sit next to me.
Can you mute it for a second?
Yeah. Okay. Here.
Introductions. I'm Nikki, and I know Fernando simply through having attended a lot of meetings here. I actually didn't know him that well personally. I had come here for other things, being Revolutionaries for New America, and I don't know how many other Occupy meetings and environmental meetings, and then I found out just recently that the rent had been doubled and he was thinking about moving. So that's what got me sort of thinking how much we need a space downtown to have these sorts of meetings and events and the free film screenings that he's always hosted and things like that. So I don't live downtown, but I know there are some people here that are residents and other people that are just interested in the gentrification issue in general.
My name is Matt Harper. I'm here because a friend of mine saw the poster in the window, part of an organization called Aware LA. It's acting for Alliance of White Anti-Racists Everywhere. We're a white caucus that tries to deal internally as a community with our racism and things inside of us that aren't so pretty, so that our friends of color don't have to deal with it. We're also working with LA CAN to try and partner with them both to talk about gentrification, but specifically since there are white residents with a lot of economic power here, how do we organize those individuals to collect power for their campaigns so that we can fight for what LA CAN wants and the community wants to have happen in LA, utilizing the power and privilege of those organizations. So I'm here to learn who you are and to see if we can do better.
My name is David Torres. I just hail from Los Angeles, Occupy LA Medic. Typically use resources here at F Square and gain to the knowledge that the rent's being doubled and organizing Melissa to come up with a plan to solve it. Regardless of the outcome, I'm looking forward to planning a really kick-ass party.
Alyssa, my origins are action organizing and media work with Occupy LA, where I moved on to Martin and Monsanto and now work with Syria. We had some of the meetings actually here at F Square, where I had the privilege of getting to know Fernando. As we were continuing with one of the groups, this began to happen, where the new owner came in and decided after buying most of the block that the real estate values had doubled, and Fernando should not give him double the money on the block that he owns most of, because he decided his real estate was over the value. And so I'm here to try and help in any way that I can to address this issue here both at F Square and downtown LA of gentrification and of the colonization of the community.
Well, I'm DJ Elmer. I'm nobody. I just.
Nobody.
I'm not kidding. I'm just totally random person that just walks on the street. I met this fine person.
So you're somebody.
Recruited them off the street.
Gave me a flyer, told me what was going on, and it seemed like a good cause, so here I am. Learn more. Two thumbs up.
What was your name again?
EJ. EJ. I'm Flower. These are my best friends. And I really enjoy when things flourish. And I want to see this place flourish into a community space where we can all get busy like bees. It has been that place, but it needs to move beyond that because there are some people who think we aren't doing anything that's important. We need to let them see what we're doing in our community. I'm Flower.
Hi, I'm Jacoba. I'm naturally from Puerto Rico. I've been straight from Chicago, where I've been working with the housing movement and this organization working in gentrification. I came to visit Biden and get to know some like social movement and housing movement. I really involved with the innovations so far. Got to meet occupied by the pushers, adults, and black leaders.
Mike Dennis, sometimes Occupy bicycle closures, from Occupy LA, and realized that there's no space to really meet on the movement level much besides LA Canano and F Square was generously offered. So I think in terms of just being able to have a place for necessary services like Freedom School, some of the things that have been done here over the last few months is crucial. And this is kind of like a last line of defense against kind of a very, very foreboding move in the wrong direction regarding how downtown is developing, what the values are that are driving development. And we're seeing in Venice, I mean, it's paper gentrification there, and it's sharing. Even the people that have money that can afford to stay are the criminalization of homelessness, criminalization of protest, all of these things that are issues that nobody's discussing are issues that we can expose people to in this space. So this is an incubator for greater things to come, and I think it's crucial to preserve this.
My name is Fernando. I already listening at the people here. It's on the good side that this thing is happening. But people doesn't believe that I'm here really not to the streets, but to help organize. I think an activist is support, and it's one of my priorities to really help to liberate not just my own people in the Philippines, but also the people here as well. This issue is really a huge issue. Issues that will affect all of us. I'm not trying to tell people, the issue is not just about me. It just so happened that, that they raise a parent and then an activist to react on the issues. And that's why maybe, when we are not organized, just like big developers can really push us around. And they really got their ways, in terms of really massive gentrification. The question now is when you don't have no money, you can't afford to be in this place, then you're automatically pushed out, particularly the people of color. And this is really a sad thing because we've been living here since, I've been here 5 years now, and you know, we made some impact in terms of, you know, people get together and so forth. And I'm satisfied with it in terms of really accumulating, you know, progressive groups in every walks of life. And so we did some good thing. And I think this is the result of people are reacting to the issues of our time. And so the issue is no longer just about me. The issue is bigger than us. And so if we organize and hopefully, you know, unite on the bigger picture in terms of this, you know, the imperialism that we are facing is really well and alive. So it's no longer about, you know, black or white. It's about when you don't have the means, that means you become homeless. And so let's make it simple and, you know, technically precise. This is the rules of giant capitalism. So I start from there.
I'm not sure I can follow that actually. It's very good. But since that one, my name is Liz Ryder. I'm a long-term Los Angeles activist, just here to see if I can help.
My name's Stephen. I live up the road and I've been here for 7 years. And our rent is slowly going up. And we just formed a residents' tenants association to try to turn up very
We're married, and my name's Rita. And yeah, they're not only trying to find the condos, but they're trying to really quite skirting around the law. Luckily, one of the people in our association is a lawyer. We have an appeals hearing this Thursday, and we live in SP building anyway. And I think they're all going to go and eventually try and sell them all. I don't want to see LA become London or New York City where there's people in the private spaces and they don't rent them out. It's going to be empty shells where there's an H&M and, you know, Starbucks. And it's really frustrating to me. Somebody who's doing us, like, I'm not somebody that wants to buy it. But I keep settling into really cool areas that trying to help me, you know, create something and then get driven out. I don't know where we'll go if we get one. I really don't know. What neighborhood? SB. He owns the real next corner on 6, and then SB Spring and SB Main.
Oh, so it's the person who's buying all.
Yeah, very small.
Okay,
He
so
owns
I'm not
like,
familiar.
he owns so many buildings.
Is it the same owner?
Might be from the same family.
I got it.
He's related?
There.
No, I don't think, wait, yeah, they did do one, yeah. Yeah.
Two on this corner.
Yeah, it's not.
And there's two more down there.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So that's,
These are the people who drive and probably down.
so if anyone wants to go to the hearing, I brought information if you want to see how that goes.
So he's related to the guy who's buying up this block?
Which one is it? Who's buying this for?
This is.
Hi.
I don't know. Yeah, they own the arcade and
The arcade is
yeah, right, and they just doubled the rent.
It's 3 developers, there's like 3 major developers in downtown LA that are continuing with residents of downtown.
Is that the guy that owns the theater? Is he the one that owns?
That's the Villajani family.
Oh, and then.
Over to you.
My name is Sarah. I'm a student, college student in East LA, and I've done a lot of downtown restaurants. I do live here. I work here. I live in a neighboring community of East Oil Heights. And it's going through the same gentrification that has already happened. I'm just here to learn more about the gentrification, how it happens.
My name is Michelle Autry. I've been living downtown for 10 years. I live in Stockholm. I'm a former board president of the Los Angeles Community Action Network. moved here not because I had a substance or an alcohol problem, but because it was affordable. And since then, it's just been horrible, the mentality of conservatism and this fascism, which I, at first, it kind of, it postures as racism, but obviously, it's not the case, because it's economic as well. So, I'm here because of this increased conservatism, and as we stand against it will continue to worsen. I've seen it, when I moved into the Hayward, which is owned by Isaac Shelmoff, he's my landlord, and he's known as the King of Spring, because he literally owns the west side of Spring Street from 7th Street to 5th Street. And I know Isaac, in 10 years I've spoken to him sometimes, he's not a bad person, it's just, but he's preparing for the recession. He owns a number of properties. So as I was saying, since I have some communication with my landlord, I'm trying to leverage some type of possible maintenance of Fernando's property. So we're negotiating with the city council members at this time. I've spoken with the board of supervisors. So where there's a will, there's a way. So I know that, in spite of what naysayers, had to say, I've been an experienced worker at LA County Good Council with organizations, in spite of negative naysayers. We can, if we organize, and hold them accountable, that's what I'm doing. And that's what we have to do as a collective. Make sure it's on the record, make sure we have some general consensus, and make sure we're organized, and that's important. So that's what I'm doing, hoping we can work together towards that end. So that they can get their money, we can keep our spaces viable and open. And I'm also fighting for the availability and maintenance of access to affordable housing, which is, it's like disappearing every day. And I moved down here to Cecil, Alexandria, Frontier, Rouse, and all of this was available. Now nothing is available except in affordable housing. Everything is lost. And that's fine, but this is not an aristocracy, oligarchy, it's not a democracy, it's supposed to be a democracy where all people have access to the housing that they need. And so that's, why I'm here representing not only my best interest, but also the community.
Hi everybody, I'm Naz, and I have been working with Fernando for the past 6-7 months, and he has helped me out on a lot of different difficult situations. So, and at the same time, F-Square Printing, apart from helping me out, has helped and maintained a culture of activism in downtown for a long time. It has provided spaces for different organizations, and at the same time provided low-cost services for a lot of the community members for a long time. And commercial properties in Los Angeles specifically, or even in general in America, they don't have any sort of rent control. And oftentimes, increasing the rent on commercial properties is an indirect assault on the community members. Oftentimes, that even though there is affordable housing in Alexandria building, if they decide to remove F-Square Printing from the community, they can bring in a corporate store like Whole Foods. And as a result of that, because of the increased price of commodities or goods and services, the low-income families might not be able to afford those goods and services, and as a result, they might be displaced indirectly as a result of the displacement in commercial rents. And at the same time, Occupy Venice, I've been kind of involved with Occupy Venice and Occupy in general, and it is crucial that we have, not only from the perspective of the occupiers, but also from the perspective of activists itself, or also at the same time providing the community space in downtown is crucial to talk about and discuss and find solution to community problems. Because what has happened in downtown is that there is a lot of bars over here, there is a lot of alcohol sales, and there is no space for communities to gather around on a weekly basis to talk about issues that the community is confronting. So we have to put a nail or a solid foundation in downtown community where we solidify a community center, and Fernando has offered, been generous numerous times for organizations and people to conduct their meetings, even though it's a for-profit business. He has reduced his prices and oftentimes provided a space at a free cost at his own expense. So hopefully we might be able to come with a solution today, and or at least formalize a plan how to either compromise or at the same time help save F-Square Printing, either from the increased rent or find a way to confront the increased rent.
Hi, I'm Patty. I do social media and live streaming for activist groups, and I'm streaming right now. And there's at least 10 people watching.
Hi, my name is Jeff. I got my activism stripes with Occupy LA. Been with them since October 3rd. All of you know my domestic partner, Alyssa, the other soup over there. And a few of my comrades, Benji, Nikki, Patty, the live streaming and so on. And Patty's mom, Nikki's mom. Nikki's mom. And basically, I'm in solidarity with helping to shut down the gentrification process that's been going on in downtown LA here, and keeping Fernando's shop open, and try to make an effort to make this a viable community hub, so that developers and whatnot in Wiggs would see the value, and Fernando's enterprises. That's it.
Excuse me. Hi, my name is Steve Barada. I've known Fernando since the immigration movement was at its peak. Fernando's been a friend and a staple in this area. I consider myself a poet and an activist, but ask Fernando, I'm by no means an organizer. But I'm here because I want to support him in his struggle for this. He needs a lot to the community. And I think this really sucks what's going down. He's being bought out. You got like a financial dictatorship going down here. I'll keep it brief, but I went back to New York, my hometown, Wantagh. That's where I became really familiar with gentrification. I didn't exist in my own neighborhood, and it's like really alienating. I think we can do something about it.
Maybe one more.
Oh, we have one more. Hey, Matt.
Big Mac.
Wait for the peace, I'm Cindy Mackey, supporter of Fernando, and also anti-gentrification individual. So the fact is, I would say Fernando's business, businesses are more home-based, like mom and pop stores, deal with information about you the individual instead of corporation. And I was here briefly when the individual spoke to Fernando about raising prices. So basically, at this point, I feel mass media coverage and also collaboration with legal aspects, because that's one way you come to the individuals, like the same place. So let's say let's go involved, let's make that.
Oh, sure, really quick. When I've spoken to marketing because I was involved in the farm bank where I'm getting working for a this so that actually becomes something also to campaign promises. And one of them was to help in maintenance of the presence of small businesses. So of course, like they continually, informing that the government cannot intervene because of laissez-faire and the freedom of private definition.
Am I anyway? Are you good?
But subsequently, after speaking to Sarah Hernandez, who's a representative for WeSAR, because this is located in WeSAR, so you all know, they've contacted, who they contact, someone, you or Fernando. Yeah. So, I have a letter, I'll show you what letter I wrote, and so apparently we is in negotiation and establishing some type of city subsidy so that we can either make this available as a nonprofit community resource or community again, they get their money, and then we're able to maintain Fernando as a viable community, but whether it's nonprofit and somewhat profit, so that we can keep the space available. So I just wanted to get that updated. They're having that meeting, but that's, I just wanted to tell them that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the last introduction, because we all went around and said who we were. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Hi. We just went around and did introductions, that's gonna ask what your name is. Oh, smell like
Oh, yeah, so Nas, is it okay for when you take that?
Absolutely.
Can I just ask them, if people don't mind, I would like to pass out a list so that everyone can put their name and their contact information on it. So I'm going to pass it around, and if you could just add that.
And then, yeah, so Nas, if you can start taking people on stack, and then I'm gonna do an update on the things that I've done so far and the feedback I've gotten so far. Do you guys wanna talk first, or should I do an update first?
Do it.
Okay, Flower saying.
I don't know if everybody in the room knows what stack is, because us who hang out together,
Yeah,
we understand what stack is, so please explain stack.
So, if you ever wanna say something, just put your hand up, and then Nas will write your name down, and he'll keep the list in order, so that it goes around in order. If you agree with something, we generally use this symbol. If you have a problem with something that someone is saying, if somebody starts going off in places that are patriarchal, racist, or anything like that, you can just sort of put your hand in front of your face, and we can move away from that direction. I don't think we're gonna be consenting on anything tonight in particular, so I'm just gonna go, those are the two symbols, just to say, like, I agree, or I'm not feeling that at all. And then if you wanna speak, just put your hand up and we'll get a name and go in that order. And then at some point, they'll do progressive stack, so if somebody like me talks way too much, he can skip me and go to somebody who hasn't spoken yet.
Well, so I was gonna suggest that we go ahead and name the community, center, Foursquare Community Center of downtown Los Angeles. And then from this group, pull together a subcommittee that will actually go to the landlord and attempt to negotiate. I think the very first thing that we need to do is to actually have a conversation with the landlord. So this is the community center, and then there's a community organization behind it, and to attempt to negotiate with him with regard to the rent. So I don't think we have much to say, if anybody else wants to be on that.
All right, so I think I'll just give the update so you can know where we're at so far on this thing. It all happened pretty fast. Just last week is pretty much when I started working on this. And I know nothing about it because I don't live down here. Like, I'm not familiar with all the landlords' names. So what I did was, the first thing I did was I called up the city council, as you said. They gave me the response that Michelle just summarized. She was actually in touch with them before, and she has a letter that we'll read out just so you guys can hear what she had to say to them. So they said essentially, if it's a negotiation between a private business and a private landlord, that's none of our business. I think it's a little crazy, but I'm not here to debate the mechanisms of capitalism yet. So then I said, well, what if it wasn't a business? What if it was our community center? Because that's what it is. That's how we've always treated F Square. And she said, well, would it be a nonprofit? And I said, well, we could figure out how to make it a nonprofit. We can do that. I mean, even if we don't necessarily do it as our own nonprofit, there's plenty of fiscal sponsors who will give you their nonprofit status. And there's a couple organizations that I've been looking at. One's called the Peace Development Fund. So this is the one I'm thinking about using. It's just called PDF. You can find it online. So what she said was that we can come up with a plan of what would this community center look like. What would we offer? Why would we be valuable? Would anybody even be interested in the stuff that we're offering? Is there a reason that the city council members should care about it? And we can put that together and meet with them on Thursday at 3 p.m. We have a meeting with Diana, Sarah, and Miguel. Yeah. And they're all willing to hear what our plan would look like. So then I just said, well, I I don't know what that plan looks like yet. Maybe I should ask the people that actually live down here. So I started passing out flyers, and that's when I met you and some other people, of, you know, what could we offer here that people would be interested in participating in, and maybe dropping a couple bucks in the hat for, so that we could make the rent or some negotiation on what that rent could be. So that's where the city council stuff stands with me so far. The second part was that I just called the landlord on his cell phone. And let me see if I can rehash this conversation from memory. So essentially what Eric said to me, Eric is Isaac's son, he manages this property. So he says to me, the building, the Alexandria building, was mismanaged before he purchased it. So he says it's underwater, it's back on it's in disrepair, it's way back on its property taxes and its other bills and things like that. So he says that building's underwater. I can't afford to let valuable retail space go for under market value. But you say you want to make a community center. We're all about making community hubs and community centers. We'd love to help you do that. Who knows if this is BS or if this is genuine. I don't know the guy. Michelle has got to read on him. He says, we'd love to help you do that. Could we give Fernando a space on Broadway and 4th, which would be 1/3 of the space for half the rent? It's not a great deal, and Fernando looked at the place and he's not interested in it. And we've sort of had these back and forth conversations about gentrification in general, which is like, do we want to line this guy's pockets? Do we want to pay this exorbitant rent here or anywhere else? And that's sort of part of the conversation I think we should have tonight. So that's why I'm out with the landlord. He said that he would come down tomorrow, Monday, to talk to us about community center or anything else. My idea was to ask him if he would simply let us continue on a month-to-month basis for a few months at the current rate. Because if he kicks us out now, Fernando, if he kicks Fernando out now, the place is going to stand vacant for a while. So he's going to lose revenue that way anyways. Like, might as well just let us hang on for a few more months and see what we can come up with. And then if at the end of those few more months, you know, we have something really popping, really buzzing, really viable, people coming in and out of the door, people wanting to fund us, people wanting to kick down cash, then we can stay. And if not, then listen, we talked to a bunch of amazing people, we made some great connections, we can move somewhere else.
So it was Benji Food?
So in regards to what was involved around, first thing, there's a website, it's fsquare.org.
We made a website, which is,
website fsquare.org. There's also
if anybody wants to work on it, please let me know later.
There's also an Instagram, it's fsquare519, so that's the address. Right now, I'm the only person on the Instagram. So I'm going to take pictures of stuff, the notes, and then this stuff is going to go up on the website. The notes that happened today, and the updates for tomorrow's meeting with the landlord. So that's going to be like a bulletin board for that. The only thing I put up so far in regards to Instagram has been like art walk. So I got some pictures. I actually still need to do some stuff. I need to put up some more pictures for it. But the one idea that I had, because there was a bunch of stuff spitballed around. Sorry. So the thing that was spitballed around was, one, trying to convert this into a community center and the resources that would be put. So some stuff was like DIY stuff, do-yourself classes, dance classes, yoga, music, teaching stuff, like someone coming in here and having a skill, and then teaching other people that skill for a reasonable cost. And another thing that was kind of put down was worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, let's get to the brass tacks. Worst case scenario, what happens? Here, Fernando's not gonna have money, he wants to relocate, he's been a service to the community for such a long time. Let's put on a party, a fundraiser of sorts to bring that in. We can do that as a finite solution. We can also do that sporadically draw attention, and we can use those as, to draw attention to the place. What that got me thinking was we could also just have weekly parties. So we could just jump to it and then like every Friday buy a keg or whatever. I don't know what the lease terms are, like what's in the parentheses on that.
If you're not selling it, you're fine.
There's a bunch of stuff, wiggle room for that, but bringing attention. You have like, you know, and more so to that, like park walk-esque kinds of events where everyone knows downtown LA is an art hub. LA itself has way large amounts of art and music and X, Y, and Z, so there's no reason why we can't use that. I think reiterating, but I think the big issue is classes. If we're going to turn this into something, what are those things? They have to be tangible goals, and which makes it hard because like a lot of brainstorming is like getting pie in the sky ideas out of the way, and being like, and those are totally awesome, and being like, no, those are totally not feasible. But yeah.
No, I think that's good. I think actually, there's so much more potential that we can, not just in terms of like gardening, but that's viable as well, in terms of cultural, artistic, political, types of performances. I'm an artist as well. You know, that we could, if Fernando would be in agreement that every night, really developing this, so that every night the community is even more socially engaged in utilizing essentially not just for profit, but just in bringing the community together. Even treating people like myself, even people in my building who live here on the 30 years. Spoken word, music, these karaoke. I reached out to my sister certified in health and wellness, nutrition, planting, you have your Occupy, season staying with runners. So every night we have something. I love Fernando. I don't come here that often, maybe once or twice a month, but sometimes I come and it's like really chill, and Fernando's here, and Nas is here, and nobody else. So I think every night something could be happening. Why not? Really engage the community, not just for profit. I spoke to Isaac before I spoke to Eric. Again, Isaac is my mentor for 10 years. Eric is his son. And basically what Isaac told me is that Fernando is not paying market rate. They will not accept anything less than $3,000 per square foot. This is about $3,000 square feet. I'm sorry, $3 per square foot. This is about $3,000. So that's what he told me. But I think that on a humanitarian level, I'm just speaking to help my profession.
Excuse me, miss? Can I get you to speak a little louder? I sorry, can't hear you.
Sure. I'm going to try to catch him tomorrow or maybe get here. We've had some experience with election as well, because he used to charge $7 for overnight guests, and he was speaking different. He was really, really receptive and responsive towards eliminating that fee. So I think that he would be considered an even receptive and responsive to the as a community organization.
Lisa?
I've had some conversations with Fernando, and I also feel that there's maybe some legal issues that happen in school. When Fernando first took this space, he was actually supposed to get 3 spaces where it would have been a coffee shop, internet, cafe. And that was his business model. He was supposed to have 3 storefronts. They screwed him, the former owners, put him in
in this space where the law, the health codes actually don't let him operate his business model because of the way that whatever the coffee machine's let off, he's not allowed to serve food in the same area. So he went through a suit, and I don't think according to that suit, that his rent was supposed to be raised more than X amount when they raised it when his lease was up. And from what I understand, Fernando was supposed to give them X amount of time to let them know if he wanted to renew his lease. He did send those owners that notification. And I guess they were supposed to honor it, but then they switched owners and his agreement hasn't been honored. So there is a legal aspect going on here. I'm the last person to crack that nut. But there might be something to it in terms of Fernando having some legal rights to what he was promised in both the lawsuit agreement and according to his lease in terms of notification. So I think that should be something that is definitely looked into because that might be the quickest path to Oz. If they're not within their legal rights to actually raise Fernando's rent and they must honor the agreement with the former landlord. The other thing is just as an update. So we had a really free market at Art Walk. We don't know if Fernando will be here again for the next Art Walk, but if he is willing to let us do it again, maybe we can think of a better model where people know they should carry it when they pay. But we would like to do it again, and a really free market is what it is. It's a community, and people bring in things that they don't need. So it's bring what you don't need, and to take what you need. So people bring in items, old clothes, we had electronics there, we had tangerine, and then people could just come in and take what they need. I do think I was trying to break down what Fernando needs. So let's say he accepted this double rent, and this became a community space. Hypothetically, we know we don't want to pay these people. But if it was sliding scale, I figured out that it was if the community, each person that helped the class and did the Skillshare was able to give Fernando $15 an hour, that would subsidize the rent increase for the entire month because it's 10 hours a day. So if there was like a yoga class that was a sliding scale and $15 for that hour went to the state. If there was a media workshop that was here and $15 an hour went to the state, that's how you would subsidize it under the community model. And that would also bring more of the community through to actually use Fernando's goods and services, which would probably increase the profit model because he ended up getting screwed. He wasn't actually able to ever execute his business the way he wanted to as a business.
Oh, I was just going to, because what she just at the tail end said is really important, so I'm going to break down the numbers really fast here. Do you mind if I share your financial information? Yeah, I guess if it's going to be a community center, it's all going to be public disclosure anyway. So here we go. The money is this. He was paying $4,400.
Plus 328 on the county tax.
4,800.
Okay. 4,800, here we go. So he was at 4,800. They want to raise it to, they said 9,000 at first, you're right, Michelle, but now I think they settled on 8,200, right?
They said 10,000 at first, so you see.
Yeah, they said 10,000 at first, and okay. Right now we're at 8,200. Now the math that Alyssa was just talking about was that's essentially $300 more every day. Now when you start breaking it down like that though, it doesn't look as scary. It's still horrible. It's not going to look less horrible, but it's less scary.
It's 150 more.
It's just 150 more?
Yes, times 30, but that's 30 days a week. 30 days a month, sorry. 30 days a week, now we know.
I don't have my calculator with me and I'm crap at this. Thank you, Mother, for all your efforts at the math, but I...
But no, 150 days, 45. So that's
Okay, so if he has to make $150 more per day, that starts not to sound so crazy, right? Like if we did a salsa night, sliding scale, drop $5 or $10 in the hat, and you know the band takes a little bit of cash, and we can raise $150. I'm just gonna break one more thing down and just say that's what she meant by when you divide it by 10 hours. it's really only $15 per hour, right, that we're trying to get out of here. There's a stack. I'm gonna go back to stack. That was my direct response to Alyssa. I'm gonna go back to stack now.
So I kind of put myself on Stack before Big Mac. So I think we kind of came up with a lot of ideas about having salsa night, yoga classes, educational classes. But I think if we really want to implement those, I mean, we have to have commitments from individuals. As long as the business is under the for-profit status. So I think before we go with implementing the program, I think what are the tactics we can implement in order to convert this particular spot, and at the same time some question needs to be answered along the way, into a non-profit business where all the classes and the programs get subsidized by the city for the empowerment of the people, and at the same time, to a certain degree, help compromise Isaac Shomoff's increase of the rent. So the change in the nonprofit status, and at the same time, what I wanted to say is, I'll stick to that now, but just the nonprofit status as far as is concerned. If we can discuss that a bit more, and what are the techniques and who we can get involved with. You want to do a direct response?
I kind of did.
Okay.
In regards to that, I think there's some criteria or some bullet points that we have to hit for being a community center.
Yeah.
So I think we have to provide some classes, like there's some base stuff that we have to do. Providing of classes, just being like maybe having like a round of time. So I don't know how Fernando feels about this one. This is something I was kind of playing around with my head, but for a certain time of day, making it happy hour, like internet happy hour. So like internet cost to use would be a little cheaper, just to make it more open. And the reason I was thinking about something like that is if like all of a sudden like, hey, internet use is like 50 cents off or something, being $1 or whatever. You have a lot of people waiting. Those people waiting would buy snacks. People would be waiting around, that kind of thing. It would stimulate that kind of cash flow.
I'm sorry, what did you call it? An internet happy hour?
Yeah, internet happy hour.
It's Big Mac, right?
Well, right now I'm gonna play devil advocate and also talk some reality. A lot of these good ideas and all that. Well, for me at this point, I think Fernando agreed. This is between Fernando and owners. And we got the legal aspect. Basically, I even had one of my schools cancel an event because the last couple of events, with the notifications we had with so-called organizations, they put the bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel at this point, we need a strong someone. I don't know the legal aspect not much. I think we need someone strong in the media, and we need some network with Occupy Business. They got to occupy gentrification. Me and I working on that. I know the individuals Watts doing gentrification. We need to be with Conrad. And we also need strong media coverage of individuals. Why does they need to face in a legal aspect? Because I was here, overheard the conversation when individuals said that about leases and all that. I don't know about that. I don't know social gentrification. You think of all kinds of great ideas. I can go court every fucking month. I mean, realistically. So, but realistically, when it comes down, it's that man's lease, that man's ownership, and that. So we can totally support on every aspect. But we need strong media coverage, I think, in collaboration with the individuals that are gentrification. And we need strong legal aspects.
Is Deva? What's that?
Yes, can I do it in Spanish? Answer some.
Okay.
Yeah, with all of this, I mean, I think we all have the intention. I mean, all these finances is good in terms of, putting it out there in terms of calculation and so forth. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of afraid because I'll be the one responsible in terms of the lease. Though we all concerned about, making this place a community center and so forth. I do appreciate it, because I'm doing that anyhow, even without it's just the way it is anywhere I go. I've been guided into a town and anywhere I go. I've been doing this since the 80s and so forth. So I'm not new to this. But in terms of really commitment, we don't know, I get to know some of you in terms of commitment, but I'm kind of afraid also at the same time, even the legal aspect of it, because they have lawyers, they have money, and I can win, the battle, but that doesn't mean I will win the finances because they can just run me around. And so these are the situations that if we go that way, what is the real commitment in our lives? Because simply, I'm already at some point afraid because I'm so busy just looking for a place. It's really, I'm glad that Mass is here helping me on some point, but I also could not service some of my clients, and so I'm also on that situation. So hopefully, I'm open to having all these suggestions, because people really, really concerned, and some people are crying and losing this space. But tell them, that's the cost when we are not organized. That's the problem when we only act palliatively, when the condition gets worse. And hopefully this is a lesson for all of us to really create a more long-term vision in terms of this gentrification. Like I said, I can always move and do the same thing to other places, but the issue is more than me. It's about the systemic problem. The system itself is designed to nurture the big developer. It's just the harsh reality. They have money and they have all these politicians being bought out. The city council is simply, though some of them are, trying, but they don't really have that real power in terms of changing the legislative or even the city ordinance. Non-profit and profit could not mix, just like water and oil. So that's another issue that we need to tackle. But I really welcome any of this. Maybe this is a first time can happen. I don't know.
Okay, so I think what we witnessed here is that there is a definite need for a community center in this neighborhood. I personally think that $8,200 is obscene. I don't want anybody paying it. Okay, so I don't, think that we should do all of this, spoken word and poetry and whatnot to pay this guy $8,200. I think we've got to go out in the community, find another space that Fernando both can afford and the community center can participate with and establish in a different location. If he's not going to come down, I think we should still try to negotiate with him to get him to come down because it's going to be hard anyway. But does anybody have any agreement on like $8,200 is just out of the budget?
No, I just signed it.
Ridiculous. Okay. But what I want to say is, I think we should have a commitment now to this meeting to establish a community center in this neighborhood, in downtown. To use this event as a to create that momentum. And I would recommend calling it Ford Square Community Center in honor of initiating the event.
Elisa?
Just a point of information, somebody said they're from Boyle Heights, and just so they know, Shomoff, the owner of this building, is buying the Sears building in Boyle Heights, and has his eyes set on Boyle Heights.
Sarah, you can be having this meeting in Royal Heights next week.
Before this, there was an activist, media Skillshare upstairs. There's a lot of activists here, and I know somebody's talking about viable media. And we have some rather big viable media networks that we work on together, and now talking about building new ones. And one of the most important things is collective collaboration. And that's what has created these giant media networks that we now have for people. People think it's just like one or two people, but it's actually collectives running each media network and then collaborating together, which is the exact opposite of the corporate media model where they compete. And I think in terms of organizing against gentrification, we're going to need the exact same thing, where it's not like, just like, oh, like, I mean, I don't live here. I live in a neighborhood that's long been gentrified. But as an occupier, it's the same sort of thing where we unite together around a problem that we're facing or fighting in our communities, but not just our community. Like, we have to show up in Royal Heights or show up in East LA and just be like, or in Venice, and be like, until they stop, we're not going to stop showing up and work together collectively and have some sort of network that we communicate on, so that we know there's a page and we need administrators that Moz and I work on that's on Facebook called Fight Gentrification DTLA. And then I had to look at this, and I said to Nod, I said to Fernando, I go, this looks like a news desk. We should do a gentrification report. I mean, green screen, but beginning to create media around our issues, because you know Fox News is not going to talk about gentrification.
No, they're not. Good luck.
You know,
with that.
NBC
They're
is
not.
not going to talk about gentrification. But if we begin to create and produce content and viral content, which some of us can do, it's just going to be that much harder for them to gentrify neighborhoods, because right now it just feels like an unsurmountable battle. I don't know any neighborhood that's ever fought gentrification in one that I can think of.
Michelle?
Well, you know, that was my experience until working with Los Angeles Community Action Network. After they're still here, and we have had considerable, really positive response with organizing again and documenting what we want, because they have excellent counsel. We win at LA Can. I mean, for those of you that don't know, who doesn't know who LA Can is? You know who LA Can is? So we win. I was on board of directors, I'm former. So you see, that's not all right. We fought big money. Some of these people, one of the real estate developers was put in jail because of our action. Okay? So that's unheard of. But I know it's possible. Before that, I didn't believe it. Okay, but organized, holding them accountable, having on the record what we want, and exposing their injustice, we win. Okay, that's what I want to say, because I've seen it. We've shut down City Hall, we've shut down intersections, we protest, we demonstrate, we appear on a page, we get publicity, media at every possible opportunity. And we've done it, and we will continue to do that. God knows. That's why I said that was the letter I circulated, to City Hall. And I love you, Big Man. This is